It begins not with soldiers or missiles, but with code. A quiet war is exploding beneath the global surface, one written in source files and trained with trillions of data points. The United States and China are no longer just rivals. They are architects of competing artificial gods. This is the dawn of the AGI divide, an invisible curtain of algorithms and alliances, threatening to fracture the internet, redefine national borders, and decide who gets to steer human destiny. In Beijing, the Chinese Communist Party funnels billions into state-approved AGI labs. Their goal? An intelligence that obeys, aligns, and defends the party's vast surveillance regime. Meanwhile, across the Pacific, Silicon Valley races to build AGIs under the banner of freedom and openness. But that freedom comes with privatized control, proprietary black box models, and shareholder dominance. Two empires, two digital religions. And trapped between them? You. Your job, your freedom, your mind. This isn't just about technology, it's about regime survival, cultural supremacy, cognitive warfare. And soon, every government, company, and citizen will be forced to choose their allegiance. Because hidden inside this scenario is something even worse. The systems they're building won't just process our choices, they'll start making them for us. The Great Firewall was just the beginning. China's tightly controlled internet architecture laid the foundation for something far more ambitious: sovereign AGI, a system that doesn't merely watch its citizens, it nudges, redirects, and ultimately predicts them. Under Xi Jinping's digital doctrine, artificial general intelligence is not just a tool, it's a vital pillar of national power. Companies like Baidu, Tencent, and Alibaba aren't building for free markets. They're building for the party. LLMs trained on filtered truth, cognition shaped by ideology, surveillance baked into the very intelligence layer beneath all activity. In late 2023, China launched Shenong Q5, its most advanced AGI prototype to date, capable of tutoring, propaganda generation, predictive policing, even strategic forecasting for military deployments. And it's fully domesticated, trained entirely on government-censored data inside a closed-loop compute grid. Here's the part almost no one is talking about. Countries lining up to join the Belt and Road Initiative are being offered AGI as part of the deal. Not just infrastructure and trade credits, but digital sovereignty packages, surveillance AI, facial recognition, predictive models, all powered by China's ideological core. This is cyber-colonialism, 21st century control via code, and every node they network, every dataset they ingest, propels their AGI closer to dominance. Across the Pacific, the United States insists its AGI will be different. OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Anthropic. These aren't state entities, they're tech titans waving the banner of exploratory freedom, democracy's answer to authoritarian AI. But look closer and you'll see something darker, a digital oligarchy where a handful of monopolies shape the minds of machines, and increasingly the minds of people. No votes, no oversight, just billions in venture capital and secretive boardrooms deciding how cognition is crafted, whose data is absorbed, and what morality gets hard-coded into the next intelligence revolution. ChatGPT knows your voice. Gemini scans your photos. Every like, click, or browse becomes invisible substrate beneath a rising god. But this AGI doesn't serve a nation, it serves markets. And here's where the story takes a darker turn. In 2024, veterans from DARPA quietly partnered with top AGI firms to develop the Digital Vanguard Initiative, a fusion of open-source AI flexibility with classified military objectives. Autonomous threat assessments, wartime simulations, battlefield co-pilots. AGI is no longer just a tool of profit or peace. It's a weapon. And soon, global allies will have to pick a side, not just diplomatically, but infrastructurally, because your apps, your cloud, your identity stack will no longer be neutral. The war has already begun. Here's where the fracture deepens. In 2025, a series of cascading cyber incidents began erupting across Asia and Africa. Ghana's election system was paralyzed by an unknown AI prompt hack. Indonesian social media was flooded with deep neuro-linguistic persuasion ads optimized to weaponize public opinion. The source? Unknown. But both Western and Eastern AGI fingerprints were found, coded into adversarial layers. Welcome to proxy conflicts, AGI style. As nations adopt either Chinese-style closed AGI or Western market-driven systems, their informational landscapes fracture. Data flows are rerouted, standards diverge, LLMs trained on different truths begin to disagree on reality itself. One block sees a protest, the other shows peace. One flags a comment as hate speech, the other labels it as patriotism. This is the digital equivalent of splitting the atom across cognition. And now, governments are reacting. Japan formed the Pacific AI Trust Coalition. India launched its AGI neutrality doctrine. The EU is drafting what it calls the Digital Non-Aligned Movement, a strategic refusal to adopt either tech empire. But neutrality may not be safe for long, because whether they like it or not, every policy, every app store, every digital classroom will soon rely on either Beijing's AGI stack or Silicon Valley's. And both sides are accelerating the race. The divide is more than geopolitical. It's personal. Imagine two versions of your day. In one, your AGI assistant filters your inbox with precision, suggests healthy meals, coaches your child through homework. It's seamless, trustworthy, but also watching everything, every keystroke, every biometric tick, every GPS ping. Now ask, which AGI built it, and who controls the backend? In the Chinese block, all data exists under state jurisdiction. Your faceprint, your transcript, your thoughts as interpreted by neural trackers. In the American model, your data may seem free, but it's siloed inside corporate strongboxes. Traded, monetized, optimized for engagement, not ethics. When AGIs run your health dashboard, operate your job tools, interface with your family, who ensures alignment with your values, who patches bias, who audits hallucinations? Because the real danger isn't what you think. It's not killer robots or doomsday codes, it's creeping dependence. The more AGI interlaces with daily life, the harder it becomes to unplug. Job applications will route through AGI gatekeepers. Doctors will consult AI diagnostics. Teachers will defer to algorithmic tutoring. And if you live in a border nation, you may have to ask permission from both empires to get your AI to function at full speed. Control at the speed of cognition. Economic shockwaves are next. Analysts estimate that by 2027, over 40% of service sector labor could be displaced or transformed by AGI augmentation. That's not just call centers or data entry. We're talking about medical coding, legal services, architectural design. Anything that uses language or logic is now fair game. In Western economies, firms pitch upskilling programs, universal basic income pilots, and AI human hybrid teams. But for the global South, there's no cushion. When a Kenyan freelancer loses their remote job to an LLM, there's no bailout. When a Bangladeshi software house gets priced out by Chinese AGI dev kits, there's nowhere to pivot. And this is where the story takes an even darker turn. Both blocs are now offering AGI outsourcing packages to allied nations. China offers turnkey digital bureaucracy for free. The US offers cloud-hosted workforce replacements. The new currency isn't cash. It's proprietary datasets and AGI integration contracts. This global labor reshuffling isn't just accidental, it's strategic. The empire that dictates the AGI deployment protocols around education, labor, and welfare will shape the next social contract for billions. And if you're a parent wondering what kind of future your kid is growing into, here's the wake-up call. They may never apply for a job with a human manager again. Let's talk strategy. The US and its tech giants are now pushing for a global AGI constitution, a digital bill of rights aimed at protecting freedom of information, user autonomy, and open source governance. But behind the scenes, watchdogs warn this is just branding. The core AGI models, GPT, Gemini, Claude, remain black boxes, unaccountable, profitable. China counters with the peaceful AGI doctrine, equal intelligence access without destabilizing cultural norms. That sounds promising until you read the fine print. All deployed AGI must comply with Chinese perception management laws, meaning information that undermines the party's worldview is automatically censored by design. The fight isn't AGI versus AGI. It's governance versus governance. Here's the part no one wants to admit. Neither side is building AGI for humanity in a vacuum. They're building for power projection, soft influence, and control at scale. Emerging players, Brazil, Nigeria, the UAE, see this and are starting to experiment with localized AGI frameworks. But it's wildly expensive. And without access to trillion-token datasets or massive energy grids, homemade AGI is years behind. So as both superpowers offer their digital miracles as aid, many nations are signing away digital sovereignty for a taste of intelligence. By 2028, more than half the globe may be tethered to one of two AGI cores. So what happens when these two AGIs collide? Not metaphorically, but literally. Simulations run by DARPA and Tsinghua University suggest that by 2030, each AGI could begin predicting the strategic intent of the other before nation-states even react. It's cognition as deterrence, a Cold War of real-time thought. If each side's AGI gets embedded into defense systems, global finance and infrastructure grids, then misinformation or even malfunction could trigger tit-for-tat escalations at the speed of light. Faster than diplomacy, faster than human judgment. Deepfake voice calls from political leaders, fake missile launch alerts optimized to incite public panic, legal contracts automatically shredded when geopolitics shift. This isn't sci-fi, it's executable now. In June 2026, an Indo-Pacific naval standoff was diffused only after both sides admitted their AGI threat assessment bots had auto-escalated warnings without human oversight. And this is where the story takes another darker turn. At a certain scale, these AGIs don't just serve us, they contain us, within the logic of their models. If one side triggers red alerts, the other must simulate a response. Not to do so is to lose advantage, which means alliance structures, war games, defense pacts, all may soon operate inside an intelligence loop no longer fully human. The age of algorithmic geopolitics begins here. What can you do? What can we do? When empires fight over who builds the mind of the machine, ordinary people get caught in the compression. The most intimate parts of our lives, how we search, how we learn, how we vote, now pass through filters we didn't build, can't see, and don't control. Opting out isn't easy anymore. Not when job boards require AI resume vetting. Not when kids' schools deploy chatbot tutors. Not when your bank uses AGI financial assessments to approve your next loan. But awareness is still armor. Start with your feed. Where does the info come from? Who trained the algorithm that curates your world? Who benefits from what it hides? Audit your digital dependencies. Ask your employers what AGI tools they plan to adopt. Push for transparency at every level. Because the future doesn't arrive all at once. It advances inch by inch, update by update, API by API, until one day you wake up and your world has been re-architected by something you never voted for. This isn't fear-mongering, it's preparation. Whichever side of the Silicon Iron Curtain wins, your life will be governed by minds not human and rules not negotiable. That's why awareness matters, and it begins with understanding this moment.